Okay, this video continues the lesson about chapter 1.5, and there was a question on page 31 of the textbook that brought up a lot of questions from students. It was specifically this story here about the plumber who has a basic service fee plus an hourly labor charge. And people were trying to understand, first of all, how to answer the question, and second of all, how to make use of guess, check, and revise. This video is supposed to answer both those questions. And we're going to go a little beyond guess, check, and revise, and we'll talk about another method that can solve this question and other questions like it more quickly. But first of all, setting it up as a verbal model, hopefully you can see that this is the pattern that we have here, where there's a basic fee, even if the plumber doesn't work any hours at all, just for showing up, and then there's an hourly charge that is applied times the number of hours. Together that makes the total cost. Well, in previous problems in the prior video lesson, we went straight from here to fill in everything, and we had everything that we needed except one piece, and then we solved for that one piece. Well, this time, and we're supposed to find the basic service fee, but this time we don't have all of the numbers, all of the boxes except one filled in with numbers. We've actually got two different boxes here. We don't know what the basic fee is, and we don't know what the labor charge is. So yeah, we know that if there were 2 hours, that it was $120. We also know that if it was 4 hours, it was $180, but that's all we know. So we have to find out both the basic fee and the labor charge. So the guess, check, and revise method suggests that if you want to find the basic fee, then you should just guess at an amount for that basic fee. So let's say that you turn that, let me go back and show you this row here. If you turn this verbal model into algebra and say phi, or F, plus L for labor times H for hours is equal to cost. And if you just plug in an amount, let's guess that it's $100, that eventually you'll get to the right place. So let's put in $100 for this middle row here. So that would be 100 plus L times 2 is equal to 120. And for the bottom row here, it will be 100 plus L times 4 equals 180. Now, if that's true, then let's look at how I got these answers here. If I want to figure out what L is, both these L's should be the same. It should be the same labor charge, so that's the test here. If I want to solve for L, I'd move this $100 over. 120 minus 100 would be 20. So L times 2 is equal to 20. That means L times 1 is equal to 10. Well, this time down here it didn't turn out to be 10. Why? Because I moved that 100 over here. I had L times 4, or in other words 4 L's, is equal to 80. That's 180 minus 100. So if 4 L's equals 80, then 1 L equals 20. I want these to match. Well, that's the check that I've done. Did they match? They did not. So now I got to revise. So I try something different. Instead of 100, I try 90. Now we talked about this in class. When we tried 90, we still did not get matching values for L. Didn't even work when we tried 80. And we tried several different iterations before we finally figured out that 60 is the value. If 60 is put in here, we'll find that the labor charge is always 30. The labor charge should always match. And 60 plus 30 times no matter what hours we work will equal the cost. So let's look at this scenario here just to prove it to ourselves. 60 plus 30 times 2. 30 times 2 is another 60, so 60 plus 60, well, that is 120, so that worked. How about here? 60 plus 30 times 4, well, 30 times 4 is 120. 120 plus 60 is 180, so that does work. Those are the amounts for the basic fee and the labor charge, but it took us quite a while. I kind of skipped over some steps, but that checking and revising, checking and revising, checking and revising, we had to go through quite a few different tries before we found 60. There's a shortcut that I'm going to show you. Look at the two different scenarios that we had. And what's the difference between those two? There are only two differences. On the left side, it's 4 hours of labor versus 2 hours of labor. On the right side, it's $180 versus $120. Or more specifically, the gap is 2 hours of labor on the left, and the gap on the right is $60. So we could say that the labor charge times 2 hours turned out to be $60. That's the only difference that we have between the second row here and the third row. Well, if I know that that's the case, then the labor charge must be $30, right? 30 times 2 hours equals 60. So I could put that $30 in every place. So I know the basic fee plus 30 times 2 equals 120. I know the basic fee plus 30 times 4 equals 180. And now I can simply solve for the basic fee. And I'll find that that basic fee is always $60, just like we found before, but much more quickly this time. And that's my answer. The basic fee is 60 bucks. Okay, there are two essential points to take away from this. One, the guess, check, and revise method will always work and will always get you to the right answer if you're patient enough with it. But there often are, and this is the second point, shortcuts, faster ways than this relatively tedious method that will also get you there if you stop and think a little bit. And that's what we're going to work on over the next few classes, is how to solve word problems in a more clever and faster way, knowing that we can always turn to guess, check, and revise if we can't find that way for that particular problem.